First contact in the mist. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the UES Horizon, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling purple-gray nebula that stretched endlessly before them. The Cassiopeia Veil, as Earth's astronomers had named it, had baffled scientists for decades. Its unusual electromagnetic properties made long-range scanning impossible, and its dense particulate matter created a natural barrier that had deterred previous exploration attempts. "Captain, we're detecting something unusual." Lieutenant Rivera's voice crackled through the ship's comm system. "The nebula's composition is shifting." Chen made her way to the bridge, where holographic displays showed real-time analysis of the phenomenon. The Horizon was humanity's most advanced deep space research vessel, equipped with quantum sensors that could pierce through conditions that would blind conventional equipment. "Show me," she ordered, and the main view screen lit up with a cascade of data. The nebula's outer layers were indeed moving, but not randomly. There was a pattern, almost like, "It's a gateway," Dr. Yuki Tanaka, their xenophysicist, whispered in awe. "The particulate matter is realigning itself, creating a corridor of stable space." As if responding to their presence, the nebula began to part before them, revealing a path through the dense cosmic clouds. Chen knew this moment would define her career, perhaps all of human history. First contact protocols had been drilled into every crew member, but nothing could have prepared them for what lay ahead. "Take us in, helm. Quarter speed. Maintain passive scanning only," Chen commanded. The Horizon glided forward, its quantum drive humming quietly as they entered the nebula's embrace. Hours passed as they traversed the corridor, each moment tense with anticipation. Then, without warning, they emerged into a vast clearing within the nebula, a pocket of clear space that defied all natural explanation. "My God," Chen breathed, and for once, no one corrected her breach of bridge protocol. Before them floated what could only be described as a graveyard of giants. Thousands, no, millions, of massive ships stretched as far as their sensors could detect. They were of varying designs, some sleek and predatory, others bulbous and organic-looking, but all were clearly artificial and ancient beyond comprehension. "Multiple ship designs detected," Security Chief Marcus Wong reported, his fingers dancing across his console. "Preliminary analysis suggests at least 7 distinct architectural styles. Size ranges from, Captain, some of these ships are larger than Earth cities." The vessels hung motionless in space, preserved by the nebula's unique properties. There was no sign of battle damage, no evidence of violent ends. It was as if their crews had simply left. "I'm picking up an energy signature," Rivera announced. "Faint, but active. One of these ships is still running, Captain." Chen felt the weight of history on her shoulders. Humanity had dreamed of finding evidence of alien civilizations, but this was beyond anything they had imagined. "Plot a course to the energy signature. All hands to research stations. Whatever we find here changes everything." As the Horizon maneuvered through the field of ancient vessels, their lights illuminated hull markings that had gone unseen for millennia. Dr. Tanaka worked feverishly to document everything, knowing each image could hold the key to understanding who had built these ships and why they had abandoned them. The active vessel gradually came into view, a massive cylinder covered in geometric patterns that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. Unlike its silent companions, this ship emanated a soft, pulsing light from what appeared to be viewing ports along its length. "Captain," Wong's voice was tight with tension, "we're being scanned. The ship's systems are active, and I think it's trying to communicate." A gentle chime echoed through the bridge, and every screen aboard the Horizon suddenly displayed the same message, written in perfect English. "Welcome, children of Earth. We have waited 2.3 million years for someone worthy to find us. Please accept our invitation to dock. There is much to discuss." Chen looked at her crew, seeing her own mix of excitement and apprehension reflected in their faces. This was the moment humanity had been preparing for since they first looked up at the stars and wondered if they were alone. "Send acknowledgement," she ordered, "and notify Earth Command that we've made first contact. Tell them," she paused, choosing her words carefully, "tell them we found something that will change our understanding of everything." As the horizon approached the massive alien vessel, none of its crew could have guessed that they were about to uncover not just the remnants of a long-lost civilization, but a truth about humanity's own origins that would shake the very foundations of human history. The Archives of the Fallen. The docking procedure was unlike anything in human spacefaring experience. As the UES Horizon approached the massive alien vessel, geometric patterns on its hull began to flow like mercury, forming what appeared to be a custom docking port perfectly matched to their ship's specifications. "It's reading our ship's dimensions in real time," Dr. Tanaka marveled, her instruments capturing every moment of the transformation. "The entire hull must be composed of programmable matter." Captain Chen led the first contact team herself, along with Dr. Tanaka, Security Chief Wong, and Dr. James Foster, their xenolinguist. They wore their newest generation of environmental suits, though shipboard sensors indicated the alien vessel maintained an Earth-like atmosphere. The airlock cycled, and they stepped into a corridor that seemed to generate itself before their eyes, walls and floor materializing from the same flowing metallic substance as the hull. Soft, ambient light emanated from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Welcome aboard the Nexus Archive," a voice echoed around them, speaking in multiple Earth languages simultaneously. "I am Curator, the caretaker of this facility and its knowledge." A holographic figure materialized before them, a beam of pure light that shifted between various forms, as if unable or unwilling to settle on a single appearance. "You have questions," it stated. "This is good. Questions are the foundation of growth." "We do," Chen confirmed, stepping forward, "starting with why these ships were abandoned and why you've been waiting for us specifically." The hologram gestured, and the corridor expanded into a vast chamber. The walls came alive with images, star maps, battles, strange alien species, and technological wonders beyond human comprehension. "What you see around you," Curator began, "is the legacy of the Great Convergence. Millions of years ago, this galaxy was home to thousands of spacefaring civilizations. Many were far more advanced than your current level of technology. They had mastered energy, matter, and even time itself." The images shifted, showing magnificent cities spanning entire solar systems, ships that dwarfed planets, and beings of pure energy walking among stars. But with great power came great division. Two philosophies emerged among the elder races. The preservers believed in guiding younger species toward their own destiny. The shapers believed in directly controlling evolution, forcing species to advance according to their design. Dr. Foster frantically recorded everything, his linguistic algorithms working overtime to capture nuances in the curator's multiple language broadcast. "A civil war?" he asked. "The greatest war this galaxy has ever known," Curator confirmed. "The Shapers developed weapons that could rewrite the laws of physics in localized space. The Preservers created shields that could hide entire species from detection. The conflict lasted for thousands of years, and in the end, the chamber darkened, showing only pinpricks of light representing stars. One by one, they began to wink out. Both sides realized too late that their weapons were damaging the fundamental fabric of spacetime. Entire regions of the galaxy became uninhabitable. Young civilizations, caught in the crossfire, were erased from existence. The survivors of both factions made a final desperate decision. The images showed massive fleets, the same ships now floating lifelessly in the nebula, converging on this location. They would surrender their technology, abandon their ships, and retreat to a primitive existence on isolated worlds, allowing the galaxy time to heal. Most used devices to erase their own memories, choosing to start over as simple hunter-gatherers on distant planets. Chen felt a chill run down her spine as the implications became clear. "Earth," she asked quietly, "was one of many seeded worlds," Curator confirmed. "Your species, Homo sapiens, carries within you the genetic legacy of both preservers and shapers. You were not the only ones. There are others, scattered across the galaxy, all descendants of those who chose to begin again. Dr. Tanaka stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overwhelming her awe. But why reveal this to us now? Why wait millions of years? The hologram seemed to smile. Though with its constantly shifting form, it was hard to be certain. Because humanity has achieved something unique. You have developed technology and culture in a way that bridges both philosophies. You seek to preserve and explore, yet you are not afraid to shape your destiny. You debate the ethics of genetic engineering while establishing conservation parks. You reach for the stars while protecting your own world. The chamber transformed again, showing images of Earth's history, from the first cave paintings to modern space stations. You were chosen because you have learned to balance progress with preservation, ambition with responsibility. The technologies stored in these ships could elevate humanity to the level of the ancient ones within a generation, or destroy you just as quickly. You're testing us, Wang realized aloud. This whole setup, the nebula, the ships, the invitation, it's all a test to see if we're ready. Correct, Curator acknowledged. And you have passed the first phase by approaching with curiosity and caution rather than greed or fear. But there are more trials ahead. The knowledge contained in these ships must be earned, not simply given. Are you prepared to continue? Captain Chen looked at her team, seeing the same determination reflected in their eyes that she felt in her heart. Humanity had been given an opportunity to learn from the mistakes of those who came before, to access power beyond imagination, but only if they could prove themselves worthy of it. We are, she answered, speaking not just for her crew, but for all of humanity. We're ready to learn. The chamber hummed with energy, and new doorways began to form in the walls. Then let us begin, Curator said. But be warned, some knowledge comes with a price, and the next test will challenge not just your wisdom, but your very understanding of what it means to be human. Awakening. The next chamber of the Nexus Archive resembled something between a museum and a quantum computing center. Crystalline structures pulsed with data streams, while holographic displays showed fragments of ancient knowledge floating in the air like digital constellations. Each crystal contains the complete scientific and cultural knowledge of a different civilization. Curator explained. To access them, you must synchronize with their thought patterns, experience their memories, understand their perspectives. Dr. Foster stepped closer to one of the crystals, his hand hovering near its surface. Is it safe? Safe is relative, Curator replied. The process will not harm you physically, but the psychological impact of experiencing alien memories can be significant. Captain Chen studied the chamber carefully. How many civilizations' knowledge are stored here? 743 major species and over 12,000 minor ones, Curator said. But today, you will only access one. Choose carefully. The team spread out through the chamber, each drawn to different crystals. Dr. Tanaka found herself mesmerized by one that seemed to contain swirling galaxies within its structure. Wang was attracted to a crystal that pulsed with what looked like military formations and battle strategies. But it was Dr. Foster who made the discovery that would change everything. Captain, he called out, his voice trembling slightly. This one, it's different. Chen joined him at a crystal that seemed darker than the others, its surface reflecting their faces like a mirror. Unlike the other crystals, which displayed their contents openly, this one seemed to absorb light. Ah! Curator's hologram flickered beside them. You found the Void Walker's archive. An interesting choice. Void Walkers? Chen asked. They were neither preservers nor shapers, Curator explained. They were something else entirely, a species that evolved in the space between stars. They observed the war from a unique perspective, and their insights might be particularly relevant to your species. Before Chen could respond, the crystal suddenly pulsed with energy. Dr. Foster, who still had his hand near its surface, gasped as tendrils of darkness reached out and enveloped his arm. James, Wang moved to pull him back, but Curator raised a hand. Do not interfere. He has been chosen. The archive responds to those it deems worthy of its knowledge. They watched in horror and fascination as the darkness spread over Dr. Foster's environmental suit, eventually covering him completely. His vital signs, still being monitored by the horizon, remained stable, but his neural patterns began showing activity never before recorded in a human brain. What's happening to him? Dr. Tanaka demanded, her instruments recording everything. He is experiencing the collective memory of a species that existed in four-dimensional space, Curator explained. Their understanding of reality was different from yours. Minutes passed in tense silence. Then suddenly, the darkness retracted, leaving Dr. Foster standing there, shaking but conscious. His eyes, when he opened them, seemed to hold depths that hadn't been there before. I saw. He struggled to find words. They knew. The Voidwalkers, they knew what would happen long before the war began. They tried to warn both sides, but neither would listen. And they discovered something else, something both the Preservers and Shapers missed. What did they discover? Chen asked, noting how Foster's usual precise academic manner had been replaced by something more urgent, more primal. The universe. He paused, looking around as if seeing the chamber for the first time. The universe is conscious, not in the way we are, but in its own way. The Voidwalkers could communicate with it. They learned that what we call physical laws are more like suggestions, patterns that can be changed if you know how to ask properly. Curator's hologram flickered more intensely. The Voidwalkers were the only species to discover this truth. It is why their ships, it gestured to a particular design among the fleet outside, were different. They didn't build their technology. They grew it in cooperation with space itself. Dr. Tanaka's scientific mind was racing. Are you saying the laws of physics are mutable? That's impossible. Impossible by your current understanding, Curator corrected. But the universe is far more flexible than you imagine. The Voidwalkers learned to work with this flexibility rather than against it. It is why their ships still function, even after millions of years. Foster nodded, still processing the alien memories. They didn't abandon their ships like the others. They merged with them, became one with the void they came from. They're still out there, watching, waiting. For what? Chen asked, though she suspected she knew the answer. For someone to understand what they understood. To see reality not as something to be conquered or preserved, but as something to be communicated with. Foster turned to Chen, his eyes now holding something both ancient and new. Captain, we need to wake them up. Wang stepped forward, alarmed. Wake up an ancient alien species. That's not what we came here for. No, Curator interrupted, its hologram showing signs of approval. But it is why you were chosen. This is your true test, not just to learn from the past, but to bridge it with the future. The Voidwalkers left a path for others to follow, but only those who could think beyond traditional dimensions of space and time could find it. Chen looked out through the chamber's windows at the vast fleet of abandoned ships. Among them, she could now distinguish the Voidwalker vessels, darker, more organic in design, almost like living shadows against the nebula's glow. If we wake them, she said carefully, what happens next? That, Curator replied, depends on whether humanity is ready to expand its definition of life, consciousness, and reality itself. The Voidwalkers offer a third path, neither preserver nor shaper, but something entirely new. Are you prepared to walk that path? The question hung in the air as the team looked at each other, knowing their decision would affect not just humanity's future, but potentially the very nature of reality itself. The real test, it seemed, was not about proving themselves worthy of ancient knowledge, but about being brave enough to embrace a completely new way of understanding the universe. The last guardian. The decision to attempt contact with the Voidwalkers wasn't taken lightly. Captain Chen had spent hours in communication with Earth Command, trying to explain concepts that defied conventional understanding. In the end, she had received a simple response: proceed with caution. Trust your judgment. The awakening process must be precise, Curator explained as they prepared to board one of the Void Walker vessels. Their consciousness exists in a state between dimensions. Disturbing it incorrectly could have unfortunate consequences. Dr. Foster, still processing the memories from the crystal, led the way. His movements had become strange, almost fluid, as if he was moving through more than just three-dimensional space. "The ship will recognize me," he said with certainty. "The memories showed me how to approach." The team crossed the void in a shuttle, approaching one of the shadow-like vessels. Up close, its surface seemed to ripple like dark water, occasionally revealing glimpses of impossible geometries underneath. As they drew near, a section of the hull simply ceased to exist, revealing an entrance that somehow felt both inviting and threatening. "I'm detecting multiple quantum state fluctuations," Dr. Tanaka reported, her instruments struggling to make sense of the readings. "It's as if parts of the ship exist in several realities simultaneously." They docked with surprising ease, as if the ship itself was guiding them. The interior was unlike anything they had ever seen. Corridors that seemed to bend in ways that shouldn't be possible. Surfaces that changed not just their appearance, but their fundamental nature as they watched. "The ship is aware of us," Foster said, his voice distant. "It's been waiting, dreaming of this moment for millions of years." They made their way deeper into the vessel, following Foster's lead. Wong kept his hand near his weapon, though Chen suspected conventional weapons would be useless here. The laws of physics themselves seemed more like polite suggestions in this place. They entered what appeared to be a central chamber, though calling it that felt inadequate. The space seemed to fold in on itself, with walls that were simultaneously close and infinitely distant. In the center, a column of shifting darkness rose from floor to ceiling, or perhaps it was the floor and ceiling that rose to meet it. "The Guardian," Foster whispered. "The last of their kind to remain in a form we can comprehend." The darkness began to move, coalescing into a shape that their minds struggled to process. It was like watching a shadow gain depth, then consciousness, then something more. When it spoke, the words seemed to bypass their ears entirely and materialize directly in their thoughts. "The children of Earth, HFY last." The voice was neither male nor female, young nor old. It simply was, like gravity or time, a fundamental force given voice. "We have," Chen replied, stepping forward. "We've learned of your existence, your understanding of the universe. We're here to learn, to grow, to train and see and do." The Guardian's form shifted with each concept. "But are you prepared if you are chosen?" Dr. Tanaka's instruments were going haywire, recording patterns that shouldn't exist. "What cost?" she asked. "Understanding. Change is those who gain it. You canotlearn what het we know and are in as you are. Your species is tendes at acrosoroeds. The preservers would have you wait. The shapers would foresee your evolution. We offer a third path." Foster nodded, understanding flowing from his borrowed memories. "They want to show us how to evolve naturally into four-dimensional space, to become like them, but in our own way, at our own pace." "And if we refuse?" Wong asked, his security training demanding he consider all possibilities. "Then you leave the knowledge you have gained, and we return to our dreams." "But no TS." The HFY stirs again. "The children of the preservers and shapers are awakening on many worlds. Some remember their heritage. Some seek the old powers." The time of isolation ends. Chen felt the weight of the moment. This wasn't just about scientific discovery anymore. This was about humanity's place in a galaxy that was about to become much more complicated. "Show us," she said finally. "Show us this third path." The Guardian's form expanded, filling the chamber with shifting patterns of light and shadow. "First, you must understand. Watch." The space around them transformed, and suddenly they were no longer in the ship. They were everywhere and nowhere, watching the history of the galaxy from a perspective that transcended normal space-time. They saw the war that had devastated so much, but from the Void Walker's perspective, seeing not just the physical destruction, but the damage to the very fabric of reality. They witnessed how the Void Walkers had evolved, not through technology or biological change, but through understanding. They had learned to perceive the universe as a living thing, to communicate with space itself, to exist in harmony with the fundamental forces that bound reality together. "This is the beginning," the Guardian's voice echoed through their expanded consciousness. "The true test lies not in this knowledge, but in how you choose to use it. Humanity's greatest strength is not your technology or your determination, but your capacity way to adapt, to find balance between extremes." As the vision faded and they found themselves back in the chamber, Chen understood why they had been chosen. Humanity's greatest conflicts had always been balanced by their greatest moments of cooperation. Their drive to advance had always been tempered by their capacity for preservation. "We're ready," she said, speaking for her species. "Show us the way forward." The Guardian's form stabilized into something almost comprehensible, as if meeting them halfway between their reality and its own. Then, begin a real work of Legacy of the Stars. 3 months had passed since humanity's first contact with the Guardian, and the UES Horizon had become more than just a research vessel. It was now the center of a transformation that would reshape human understanding of the universe. The ship's science labs had been converted into learning centers where the crew worked to grasp concepts that challenged everything they thought they knew about reality. Dr. Foster had become their bridge to understanding, his mind permanently altered by his connection with the Void Walker crystal. He moved through the ship like a living shadow, existing partially in normal space and partially in dimensions that others could only theorize about. Dr. Tanaka had developed new mathematical models to explain what they were experiencing, though even these required radical departures from conventional physics. "The universe isn't just conscious," Foster explained during one of their daily sessions with the Guardian. "It's a vast network of interconnected awareness, with space itself acting as both medium and message." Captain Chen watched as her crew members worked to internalize these new concepts. Some took to it naturally, their minds expanding to embrace new possibilities. Others struggled, fighting against the dissolution of everything they had believed about reality. The Guardian had been right. Understanding changed those who gained it. "Your progenies exceeds expectations." The Guardian's thought voice resonated through their minds. "But now comes the moment of choice." The being's form shifted, revealing glimpses of other dimensions as it moved. Around them, the chamber filled with images of Earth and other worlds scattered across the galaxy, planets where other descendants of the ancient civilizations were beginning to reach for the stars. "We're not alone in this awakening, are we?" Chen asked, though she already knew the answer. "The children of the preservers and aprs satire on many worlds, some already to the edges of higher dimensions, some rebuild the old technologies, the galaxy Akins, and the choices of the past must be made again." Dr. Tanaka stepped forward, her hands moving through holographic equations that hung in the air. "But this time we have your guidance. We can avoid their mistakes." Perhaps. But our piety is not to wipe out risk, to evolve as we did in Neans, HCC dying, that you who will bec of them is something other than human, not beater, not worse, but difffe orient. Some of your kind may choose to remain as they are. Others may seek different paths. Wang, who had remained skeptical throughout their training, spoke up. You're talking about the fracturing of our species. Transformation always brings division, but division need not mean CO and F like TT. The void would yours, learn to exist in harmony, with multiple states of being. This is the true gift we offer. Not just the power to TRNC indeed DI manianisions, but the wisdom to maintain UNITY in diversity. Captain Chen thought about Earth, about the billions of humans who would soon learn about what they had discovered. She thought about the other awakening civilizations across the galaxy, each facing their own choices about their future evolution. What happens next? She asked the Guardian. You will return to Earth with the beginning of UNDR standing. Those who wish to learn will come here, to the NEXUS. Over generations, some of your kind will evolve to PRCIV and exist in higher dimensions. Others will choose different paths. All are valid. The Guardian's form expanded, encompassing the entire chamber. But no TS. The power we share is not diminutive or dominance or control. It is the power to communicate with the universe itself, to exist in harmony with all levels of reality. Use it wisely. Chen looked at her crew, seeing in their faces the same mix of anticipation and uncertainty that she felt. They had come seeking knowledge and found something far more profound, a way to transcend not just the physical limitations of their species, but the philosophical divisions that had nearly destroyed their predecessors. There will be those who fear this change, she said. Those who will resist it. Yes, but fear can be overcome with understanding. Resistance can be unity with patience. The void will yours. Learn detailed evolution is not a race to be delusion, but a jour and EY to be experienced. As if to demonstrate, the Guardian's form shifted one final time, revealing a glimpse of what humanity might become, beings of pure consciousness, existing simultaneously in multiple dimensions, yet still retaining their essential humanity. It was both terrifying and beautiful. We accept your guidance, Chen said finally, speaking not just for her crew, but for all those who would follow. We'll face this transformation together, as one species, even if we choose different paths.